Hi everybody, thanks so much for coming to see me. My name is Selena. If you haven't already, I invite you to check out my website. I'm going to post the link in the description below. Recently I've rediscovered my passion for oil painting, and that's all due to the internet. Thanks to YouTube, I was able to see almost every Bob Ross episode there is, so I picked up a lot of techniques from him and also a few techniques from my newest idol, Kevin Hill. So what I'd like to show you guys today is some of the tools that I use in order to create paintings that I've done so far. I've already showed you guys the palette. It's made out of plexiglass, and if you check out my other YouTube videos, you'll see what I talk about and how easy it is to scrape it off with a knife. It's nice and flat surface, and you need that when you want to work with your palette knife. I also want to show you guys what I use to store my paints in. My father had given this to me when I was really young as a little painting kit, but I've actually added to it over the years. As you see here, it came with its own palette, but because I didn't scrape the paint off, it's all bumpy and it's not nice to use with a palette knife. So that's why I made myself a new one. And if you see here, I don't have all the same types of paints. I have some thin paints and some very thick paints, which you'll see in just a few moments. In my kit, I have mostly thin paints. Even though I have different brands, the consistencies of them are pretty much the same. I have a few Winton colors. And I have also a few Pabeo. My thicker paints here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but they're actually called Sunny. I have no idea where I got these from. If I remember correctly, I got them as a gift. They're so thick. This one actually cracked on the top because I was trying to push it out so hard. So I had to wrap it in a plastic bag. But it's so thick that I actually have to step on them to get the paint out of it. And if you can see here, for this one, I actually cut it open. I was trying to squeeze it out of the tube. I got fed up. This one is stored in a plastic bag. But yeah, I like the color of it. That's why I continue to use it. But it is a very thick paint, and I have to thin it down with a medium in order to use it. These paints here actually came with my painting kit. They were given to me by my father, so they're actually over 20 years old. This one is still very thin actually, and this one is a pretty thicker one. It's Talons, you can see it here. So Van Gogh, I know they still sell Van Gogh, but I don't know about the other Talons one, if I can still find that one. But basically these are some of the paints I'm working with. They're all different consistencies, different brands, so I have to experiment and work with what I got. And there you go, that's my paints. So now that I've showed you guys paints that I'm working with, I'd like to show you the easel. This easel here is nice and sturdy, and it was made for me by my father. He actually made me two, but I took apart one, sorry Dad, and made this one more sturdy. The reason you want a good, strong, sturdy easel is because when you're using the wet on wet technique, you're going to be using a lot of pressure, and you need a good, strong, sturdy easel to hold it in place. So I've turned my easel around here. I want to show you guys what I've made to hold my brushes. It's made out of some simple food cans. I've inserted a rod here with some holes in the food cans and just glued it in. And I tied it onto the part of my easel with some tie wraps. I want to give you guys a little introduction as well to the brushes. So you want to get yourself some natural hair bristle brushes. This one is made of hog's hair. The bristles make for some nice texture in bushes, trees, and rolling hills. You also want your brushes to have some nice long handles. So this way you can stand back a bit from your painting in order to get a better view while you're working. Now I have this nice 2-inch brush here. A few size 1.5 inch. As well as some, well, 3 1-inch brushes. Different sizes and thicknesses. And I really enjoy working with my fan brushes. Here are a few that I'm using now. So far I found that the farther apart the bristles are, the better texture I get and the more realistic things I can do with my paintings. This filbert brush here, I actually made this one, and that's what I used for making the mountains in my last painting. I have some knives here that I'm working with. This one here actually mostly just for this small edge right here, and I use those for mountains and doing other kinds of trees and rocks and stuff like that. And here I have some detail brushes, which I'm gonna have to get some new ones soon because they're starting to look pretty ratty, but that's my brushes that I'm using. So now that I've showed you guys the tools I've used to make my paintings, for my next video I'd like to show you guys the steps I took in order to make this one. I hope you've enjoyed this video and hopefully learned something from it. Please post your comments and suggestions down below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.